What up, bitch? We can edit that out.
It's okay. It's okay. Hi.
Hello.
Everything will make sense in just a few minutes when
This is true.
we hear today's song, number 6.
Just took
Urban
the
Goddess.
opportunity to say something that I would never say to somebody in any other circumstances.
Yeah, but the whole song is about reclaiming those words and those descriptions of us. And yeah, what does that mean for us? What is that archetype? And stripping it from its demeaning power.
Yeah,
So we own it.
we own it. Absolutely.
Witches, bitches, and goddesses.
For me, I feel like, well, and it makes sense. This feels like I suppose the titular song on the album, you know? I know it doesn't share the name with the project, but yeah, I think this is kind of an overview of everything we're kind of talking about, right? Yeah.
Should we go and listen to it? And then we unpack. Okay. So you see my player?
Yes.
I stand on trial as a witch, but my only crime is this. I transmute and alchemize, use the gifts that she provides. I'm wise and intuitive, so you fear my mind and what I can do with it. Why are you all scared of the dark side? You know the light can also be a blind guide. Now when you tell my story, tell it not with fire and glory. I'm still here, waiting to be integrated. Forget the world where once we were separated.
Light and dark, all three of us, we stand as one. From the void, light and dark, all three of us, we stand as one.
I stand on trial as a bitch, but my only crime is this. I embrace my sexuality, I love myself and my non-duality. Yeah, I show it off and enjoy it, my body, my choice, I own it. What are you afraid of this time? My feminine energy is still divine? I'm gonna take it, stand in my power, be the one to climb my own tower. I'm not anyone's fairy tale princess, I take my power back, I'm a bitch of a priestess.
Light and dark, all three of us, we stand as one. From the void, light and dark, all three of us, we stand as one.
I stand on trial as a goddess, though my crime seems to be less. Cause you see me as a deity of lightness, but I'm an orb of feminine wholeness. Yeah, I bring the rain, fertility and love. I also bring the rage of all the fires from above. And you don't fear me, right? Cause I'm endearing, right? And my power looks safe to worship, even though I share it with the witch and the bitch. We are one, all three of us. Light and dark and void are filled with us. So when you wish upon me, make sure you wish upon all three.
Light and dark, all three of us, we stand as one. From the void, light and dark,
Yes.
Okay.
Bop number 2.
This one was surprisingly comfortable to record.
Yeah, right? This was a
Yeah.
fun one. Um, yeah. I love your delivery as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised with what came out.
Yeah.
Oh, I have this in me.
Yeah,
Why
right.
haven't rapped before?
Yeah. This is definitely for me an out of comfort zone thing to do. But I remember writing the lyrics felt so empowering and felt
Yeah.
like we're definitely going to rap this.
And I also love your color of the voice with the raps,
Mm.
because it kind of gives this, yeah, like soft, airy, gentle voice, but at the same time, like, don't mess with me, because
Yeah. 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 I thank you. I'm glad to hear that. I feel like it's that in itself is quite loud what you just said. So um yeah. I think one of our struggles was deciding who was going to sing what part, right? Because we were like, I want to sing that part. I want to do this part. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I was like, I was straight from beginning, like, yeah, I can be the bitch. It's
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Um yeah. I definitely was happy to be the witch. I think the witch gets such a bad. I mean, all of them. Well, the witch and the bitch obviously get such a bad rep,
Rap.
and the goddess obviously is like she's completely divine and
Yeah, until she
feminine,
isn't.
and
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I think the lyrics really try to explore those misconceptions, I suppose. And something that I'm seeing a lot now, especially with social media, I guess, is that this like kind of the rise of the witch. By that I mean like people that are getting more in touch with the land again, you know, people that are using like herbal medicines, people that are kind of yeah, just exploring different ways of living, and that gets a bad rep, right? Because
Mm.
I think because just consumerism and you know the way we've structured society to be, it's like, oh, if you want to go against this, then you're a witch. We must burn you at the stake. You know.
Yeah, and also in the mythology, we find so many of goddesses who were thrown from the throne and became witches, demons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in one word, they were demonized the moment they actually wanted to use their power. I would say, yeah, for a goddess, it's expected to be divine,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of prohibited to have power and
Mm-hmm.
use it.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of similar to what we were talking about, I think, last week about this, just these narratives around women, you know, about being seen but not heard, and you can look pretty but don't have an opinion. And I think the
Mm.
goddess is kind of one of those archetypes that, yeah, we want to see as the pretty one and
And the one who sacrifices, the one who endures
yes.
everything and
Why
has
is this a
compassion and
positive trait?
understanding for everyone,
Yeah,
which again are good qualities until they're not, until they become self-harmful.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also, yeah, this song is now beginning of the third part of the woman cycle. So we finish with the summer
Mm-hmm.
and we're entering autumn,
Mm-hmm.
or commonly known PMS. So it's time to stand up for yourself if you cannot do it in
Don't
other
mess with me.
moments. Yeah, I would say, if you don't know how to stand up for yourself on a regular basis, then PMS is the one that explodes,
Mm.
because you don't really have choice not to stand up for yourself, but then everything repressed just
Comes out. Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
kaboom. But yeah, it's there to help us. It's
Yeah.
there to really notice what we are bothered about, what doesn't work in our life. And maybe not the best moment to solve things and negotiate,
Mhm.
but definitely time to take notes and see, okay, what needs to be changed.
Mhm.
As autumn and the leaves fall down, so things in our life can
Yeah.
be released. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Shall we have a look at the lyrics?
Yes,
Do you have yours
please.
there?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So we'll do it. We'll do it in our
Mhm.
I just have to share with people. I have a bit of a head cold, and I'm here, but I'm not here. You know, things are taking a moment to land. Okay. Um, I stand on trial as a witch, but my only crime is this. I transmute and alchemize, use the gifts that she provides. I'm wise and intuitive, so you fear my mind and what I can do with it. Why are you all scared of the dark side? You know the light can also be a blind guide. Now when you tell my story, tell it not with fire and glory. I'm still here, waiting to be integrated. Forget the world where we were once separated.
Then we have the chorus. Maybe we save that for the end, and I'll
Mhm.
go to my part. I stand on trial as a bitch, but my only crime is this. I embrace my sexuality. I love myself and my non duality. Yeah, I show it off and enjoy it. My body, my choice, I own it. What are you afraid of this time? My feminine energy is too divine. I'm gonna take it, stand in my power, be the one to climb my own tower. I'm not anyone's fairy tale princess. I take my power back. I'm a bitch of a priestess.
I stand on trial as a goddess, though my crime seems to be less, 'cause you see me as a deity of lightness, but I'm an orb of feminine wholeness. Yeah, I bring the rain, fertility, and love. I also bring the rage of all the fires from above. And you don't fear me, right? Because I'm endearing, right? And my power looks safe to worship, even though I share it with the witch and the bitch.
We're one.
All
All
three
three
of
of
us,
us,
light and
light and
dark
dark
and
and
void,
void,
are
are
filled with
filled with
us.
us.
So when you
So
wish
when you wish
upon me,
upon me,
make
make
sure
sure
you
you
wish
wish
upon
upon all
all
three.
three.
And then we have from the void, light and dark, all three of us, we
We
stand as
stand
one.
as one.
That's what choir is repeating.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would say the basic message is that we all have all these aspects. And yeah, there will be situations where we will share just a certain aspect of ourselves. But to identify yourself with just one of the aspects, I think, can become very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And and you want this unity, and you want to experience this acceptance of yourself by yourself first,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for everything else, yeah, to fall into place after.
Yeah. And also, I think it's worth kind of exploring these archetypes as, yeah, part of an integrated one. And kind of on the back of what you said, you know, if you're identifying as one, it's probably going to be harmful at some point because it's unbalanced, right? But these are also archetypes that you can sort of call upon, or I would say embody a bit more when you need to, right? Like it's very typical. I know one of the things we talked about as well, because at the time I was reading something called I think it was called Embracing Shakti. So it was talking about different. We come from like a society where our religion is a male god, and I think that that has a lot to do with like the patriarchy and or vice versa, and so women being kind of this subservient character. I think also potentially stems from that. But there are other cultures that have women as their religious figurehead, or a pantheon of goddesses, or female archetypes. And reading about those viewpoints was so empowering, because you see that, like everything, how we talk to each other and how we talk to ourselves is fundamental importance, right? So if you grow up in a culture that has men up here and has women here, that's going to be affected in that's going to affect your life and your viewpoint. But if you grow up in a world where women are here, and not necessarily that men are here, but actually what I was reading a lot in those stories is that it was more like this, you know. A lot of these stories were about how she made him more powerful, or he made her more powerful, and this, or yeah, they were parts of a whole, you know. And it was just, it's so interesting to see when you look at these in this kind of way, how different your life could potentially be. But we all have the capacity to also embody that when we want to, you know. We don't have to just accept, like, oh, well, I live in this patriarchal society and I'm subservient and that's how I will behave. No, you can kind of look at these archetypes and embody whatever one you need in any moment, you know. Like, there are different archetypes for creativity. These become like the muse in different cultures, you know, or there's a goddess of war, you know, and maybe you embody the goddess of war for not necessarily for, you know, reasons of like attacking a person, but just for reasons
Keeping your
of maybe
boundaries.
destruction. There's something I need to destroy in my life in order for me to grow again. And so this is an archetype maybe that I'm, you know, meditating on or embodying for a period of time. Or so, yeah, all that to say that these are all individual, but also I think equally weighted parts of ourselves potentially, if we want to engage with them, rather than I'm a goddess, I'm so pretty all of the time, and I'm divine, and you know, everything is great, and okay, that's nice, but is that sustainable? Probably
Yeah.
not. You're probably going to need, need to take education, I guess, from the other aspects of yourself as well.
Yeah, I think very necessary, and that exactly the dark side, the shadow side, is the one that sets the boundaries, is the one that protects your integrity, not necessarily to go to attack someone else, but yeah, just like keep what's yours.
Yeah.
That's yours, because we don't live in society that is just one and that is unity, and it is not the dimension and the reality we exist. We exist in the reality of duality. So there is me and there is the other, and for me, in order to grow and learn and see my reflection in others, we need to be separate, otherwise I will never be able to see that reflection. So I need to keep my ego and my boundary. And it also makes me think, especially in Balkan cultures, that we still do need permission. We need to hear that we are allowed to embody more than one archetype, because there is definitely like the goddess one, the divine one, the holy one that is desirable, that is the one that is wife material and that will forgive everything and put everyone else on the first place and always be the last one and take everyone else's needs and keep the family even if she's beaten up, keep the family even if she's cheated on, and it shows the strength if she stays with the man who is troubled. And then on the other side, there is this whore archetype that is the one that is actually lusted and actually wanted. And you cannot be both. You're not allowed to be both. And it cannot be in one woman. So you're either this or either that. And no one can be happy. No one is happy because then no one gets their fulfillment and needs are not met is just exploited and everyone is playing this role. So yeah, I'm now thinking of that and how strong and present is that still there in, I would say, my society. Yeah, where like just the idea of, hey, you're allowed to be more than one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
allowed to be in situations where you have a newborn, where definitely you will put their needs first and your needs don't matter at that very moment. But then tomorrow there will be another situation where you definitely should be a bitch.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, then again, you won't be able to be there for your child next day or whatever the scenario is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it just took me back to all these stories, listening from the young age, that just
Yeah. It's
would
it's
love to see them
interesting.
changed.
Yeah, I hope it's a kind of a generational thing as well, in the sense that, obviously for a long time a woman's place was in the home, and she was only, I say only not in a diminutive way, but you're solely a mother and a homemaker, and that's your job, and you don't get to be anything else. And I think now we're kind of, there are so many mothers uh, that are, they do other things. They work out of home. They're like business owners and all of this stuff. And actually spoke to my mum the other evening. We were talking about um, how those roles, thankfully are changing. I certainly am grateful that they're changing. I don't think I'm the type of person that would, I'm totally open to having a family, and I know that if and when I have a family, I'll be engrossed in that part of my life, but signing up for one thing, I think, is, in my mind, that's terrifying for me. So
yeah, that shouldn't take away from the other thing.
exactly, I wouldn't want to be one thing, and everything else gets kind of just pushed away. Obviously these things ebb and flow as they do in life. But yeah, we were talking just about how in her time it was just so much more common that when the woman has a child, she stays at home, and the father goes out working. Or at some point in the 80s in Ireland, there was a recession. So, in her experience, she was at home with the kids. And sometimes, like, my dad wasn't out working because there was no work. But it was also, there's just this assumption of the female roles and the male roles. And I think that being sort of broken down as well I think it's good for everyone, more and more stay-at-home fathers as well. And I guess, we're exploring this obviously from a woman's perspective. This is all true for men as well, I think, can't speak from a male point of view, but I'd be interested to hear a male's perspective on these, kind of embodying these different archetypes. Because also for men, it's assumed that you're going to be macho. You're going to be the one that's fighting for your family historically. You're out hunting and bringing home the food to put on the table. And those things are being broken down now as well. Men are kind of more allowed to be more sensitive. They're allowed to embrace their feminine qualities a little bit more. So yeah, I'm glad these things do seem to be changing.
Yeah. And what I often see misunderstood is kind of wanting for these roles to change doesn't mean that we label them as completely wrong and not necessary, but just not having this assumption and not being forced into them, but having the choice.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, maybe I do want to go into that role, and then that's amazing.
Yeah.
But what if I don't?
Yeah.
And that's a big problem, because first, I will not do that role well if I'm forced into it.
Yeah.
And that again goes for everyone. Really goes for everyone. And I think that many people who still perceive that they are forced in certain roles will be also the ones who judge the others who want to break free from them, and accusing them of now destroying the order and values and family and all of that. But I think it's a ground to be able to make healthier families.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, if we all have a choice and then we, with our free will, organize ourselves with what's best for us and this family unit,
Mm-hmm.
then everyone is winning there.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Excuse me.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a difficult topic.
Oof. I'll be right back.
After the short break, we will now play the announcements.
Pardon me. Yeah, it's a topic for everyone. It really is.
Yeah. But maybe, to come back to the song, I think one of the motives that was really strong for me, and let's say one of the messages is when you get, and again, this goes for everyone, but this whole project is from women's perspective, so we're gonna talk from that perspective, and everyone else just reverse and adapt to your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Is when you are thrown of the goddess divine throne, usually when you allow yourself to react to some disrespect and to some maltreatment, and that reaction is punished and not the actual deed or abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And we also see that in many myths, in mythology, in many stories, where those are exactly the moments of goddesses daring, although they were goddesses, to react to something that gods did.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would be sent into underworld, they would be stripped of their powers, they would be whatever was the specific story.
Yeah.
And that is unfortunately still very, very present, where the reaction is blamed and accused more than the actual deed that provoked the reaction.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. I see this. We all see this all of the time. But I have personal experience of this as well. You know, a conversation that we had like earlier in the year. And yeah, it just says a lot, I think, about how we're pre-programmed, you know, to not take the side of the, let's say, victim or whatever in that situation, but to just jump on the accuser's kind of side. It happens so much.
Yeah, where again, it's a very tricky balance, I think, but yeah, in order to grow, even if you find yourself in victim situation, of course, no one wants to stay in victim mentality. You want to take certain kind of responsibility, not because you're a guilty party, but so you can own things that will help you grow, so you don't find yourselves in similar situations again. And it is a tricky thing to be said because it can be very misunderstood, easily misunderstood. But where I see the problem is where, okay, for example, I can have some of my own programs, some of my own wounds that will maybe pull me towards a certain situation, even if I did not consciously choose it. So if I'm working on that, yes, that will help me in a long run make different decisions. But that's the moment where then society says, oh, okay, so now you should take 100% responsibility of the event, and we resolve the other party of all responsibility. Oh my God, that gets all of my buttons going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a deep topic. Deep and vast. Yeah.
But yes, share with us how do you feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe any situations you experience that? I mean, for sure, I think everyone at one moment experienced themselves on both ends
Mm-hmm.
of the of
Sure.
that equation.
Yeah.
Hopefully in a lesser scale rather
Mm-hmm.
than a bigger one, but um, yeah, I'm curious to what our family group has to say.
Yes. Yes. Let's keep chatting in the chat, and yeah, keep the conversation going as we have been the last few weeks. Um, Thanks again so much to everybody for being here. It's nice to see our little family growing each week a little
Yeah.
bit.
And if you're enjoying this conversation, feel free to invite people who you would think will enjoy them also.
Yeah.
Because I think, yeah, more we talk about this, more we ask ourselves questions, more we are aware of all of these dynamics, the world can just be a better place. And drop by drop,
Yeah.
nothing goes over the night, but
True.
and for the end, we are now on Monday, but Thursday, go check our YouTube channel. Go check,
Yes.
find us on Spotify, on iTunes, on where else?
Everywhere. All of the platforms. Deezer, Pandora. I don't even know if any of these exist anymore because I don't use them, but it's going to be everywhere. Yes.
Because
Mm-hmm.
on Thursday, May
Mother.
1st, we are releasing our first single.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Maybe actually we can already share the pre-save link in the chat this evening. So go and pre-save it. That helps the algorithm and all of that to share it with more people. So yeah, very exciting.
Thank you so much, everyone. Next week, if you want to hear some rage, come to hear me raging.
Yes, holy anger. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah. Thank you
All
all.
right. Thank you. See you next week.